This is a quick update for the Fishroom tour video that I did several years ago when I first built the Fishroom. When I first built the Fishroom and did that video, I think it was 2011, so it's been several years. This tank that's in front of us with 10 gallons on it was, and then this rack configured a little differently, was all that was here. Changed that rack, the 10 gallon rack just a little bit. This rack now is all 20 gallon high tanks. There's 8 of them. There's an additional rack over here now. The lights have gone out. It's 9:30 at night here. The lights have gone out, but there are 4 40 breeders in a brand new rack. I say brand new, it's been there probably 3 years, but all the lights in this room, just like in the first video, are controlled by these 2 switches here. These are obviously timers. As you can see, it's 9:30, so these lights have already gone out. But this switch here controls the first set of lights, and this switch here controls the main lights. I'll show you how those work. In the morning, all the lights obviously are out, and being in a base room, it is a basement. This is pitch black. So when the lights first come on, these come on 5:45 in the morning, and they're on for 15 minutes like this, and at 6 o'clock the main lights come on, and then these lights would come on shortly after that. So that process kind of simulates the sun up, or the dawn process a little bit. 15 minutes later, then of course the little lights go out. 11 o'clock in the morning, about 5 hours later, that process reverses itself. The little lights come on, and then just a little bit later the big lights go out. Then just a little bit later those little lights go back out, and then it's pitch black again for the afternoon. In the late afternoon, that process again repeats. The lights come on, and then it's good like that until about 10 o'clock at night, and then that process repeats, and they go to bed for the night. So that hasn't changed from the first video. I didn't show that in the first video, but that's how the process works. In the 20 gallon tanks over here, just kind of a few highlights. I do have a breeding trio of Bushnose plecostomuses. That is Daddy Plecostomus back there. There's one female there. There's one female there. They recently had eggs, which just recently hatched, which are right there. You can see they hatched probably during the last day or so. Some of the other highlights are some yellow labs, a colony of yellow labs. I'll show you some of their babies here in just a minute. There are some baby Cory eggs, and as you can see, those have started to hatch as well. Those have just started to hatch here in the last few hours, actually. They are the babies of this colony right here. I'll show you 3 other generations of these. These spawn about every 2 weeks, so I'll show you quite a few of those. Up on top here, I have a breeding pair of angelfish. One over there, one right there. I'll show you several generations of their spawn, as well as they spawn pretty regularly as well. As you come into the fish room here, there's the rack that's kind of always been there. We go this way. This is the work area. This is where this has changed a little bit from the first video. It's not any cleaner than it was in the first video, not any more organized, but there it is. There's all the stuff that I need to do. There's a nice work sink over here, which works well. There's some stuff off to our right here. Some micro worms, which I use to feed like the baby angels, the baby Corys, the baby cichlids that I've got. I'll show you several of those as well. The house sump pump is used pretty heavily in my setup. There's a big drain that runs right here. I'll show you what comes down that pipe in just a little bit. There is a battery backup for that sump pump just in case the power goes out. Water would start to drain. It would go in there, and then of course then it gets pumped out by this battery backup. There is auxiliary heat in this room in case something from the house power goes out or whatever over an extended period of time. We are in Illinois, so we do have extended cold periods. If the power goes out, I can heat this room with that gas heater there. This is the 10 gallon rack. We'll come back to that. This is kind of where all the water processing goes. Just like in the first video, there are still 3 tanks. These tanks are a little heavier duty than the other ones were. I had problems with the other ones starting to leak. So in kind of a massive project, I had to repipe all of this stuff. There's lots of electrical switches that control everything from the valves. I'll show you what those do here in just a second, to the lights. I'll hit the lights to all 3 levels so we can see what's going on here. At the top is the water still comes out of the ceiling like it did in the first video. There's a new electric valve that's right there. I'll show you the purpose of that here just a little bit. Each one of the tubs has an overflow drilled into it, so if I forget to shut that off, this water would overflow into this pipe. It would come down and then into this drain pipe here, which goes under the rack out to the sump pump, which is one of the things that goes through that pipe I told you about earlier, out to the sump pump. All 3 of the tubs have that overflow feature in case the power goes out and water starts to drain back down from these pipes from the racks. It would drain out of this elbow into this pipe and out. I'll show you a little bit more about this in a minute. But these electric valves that I have here from each level, if I hit a switch over here, I can make water go from one level to the other. I put in the electric ones because the manual ones that I had before that you had to turn was ripping the bottoms out of these tubs. So with the electrical ones, that doesn't happen. So there's one there's one at the bottom which fills this one here, and then of course one at the top which puts the water there. The water in these tubs isn't heated or treated, it's just there ready to go for when I change this. To change this, I can do this one of 2 ways. These 2 pumps are the pumps that bring water back to the rack. This pump right here goes to the rack with the 20s on it, and the one that has the new 40s on it. This one here just simply services the rack with the 10 gallons on it, which I'll show you here in just a minute. So if I want to drain these 2, I can shut these 2 pumps off. There's another pump right here, another pump that I can hook this pipe into that elbow and turn that pump on. I can do that with that switch right there, and it will drain this sump through the drain into the sump pump over behind me. So that's one way I can do that. The only reason why I set this up is because it drains this relatively quick. I have a switch where I can open a drain over by the sump pump and use that pump to pump the water out, but it's remarkably slow. So I had an extra pump, so I just put it in there and I can blow it out the overflow relatively quick to get that water out of there. These are the returns coming back from the rack. There's the water that goes to it. There's a return that comes back to the tub, and here's the other one. So this water is coming back from the tanks into the tub. There's fluidized bed filter, which helps for filtration in the racks, and a UV sterilizer, which is down right behind me there. Heating is still accomplished. A lot of this hasn't changed from the first video, but heating is still done through this unit. I did add an additional 500 watt bar heater, so there's a 1000 watt one over here, 500 watt one over here, and if you look in the tub, there's the 500 watt one, and if you look down over there, there's the 1000 watt one. So essentially 1500 watts of power in that tub heating everything. So this is the 10-gallon racks. The tanks are still the same as they were. They're all drilled in the back here. They're all drilled, which water goes out the back to back that goes down to the tubs. This piece right here, I can rotate. I can make it either go up, which would raise the water level, or I can make it come down, which will lower the water level, however I want to do that. And then water just returned through these valves here. Pretty straightforward. The air they're supplied by a big blower that's in the room next door. You can probably hear it in the background. And that's supplied to all the tanks. This is one of the generations of the albino and the brown cories that I was telling you about. That's one generation of them. As we go down the rack down here, this is the youngest generation of them, along with just some mollies, some baby mollies that I say. So there's another generation of them, and the oldest generation is down here on the end. So I've got a few cories. These are the bronze cories that are the school that produces all the bronze cories. They spawn about every 2 weeks as well. The pair of angelfish over there, I told you, has spawned quite a bit. Here is the youngest generation of them. just ate brine shrimp, so that's why they're kind of all fat and orange. That's one of the generations of them. These tanks right here, I should mention, these are 2.5 gallon tanks. They are also drilled. They're exactly like the other ones. They have fresh water coming into them. They're drilled so the water goes back to the sumps. But I put in a special little device here which will feed them water like it does the 10 gallons down further that way. But the tanks are smaller, so I can put smaller fish in them and be able to feed them a little more effectively. These are the baby koris, as I said. These are the baby cichlids. Those are some yellow labs that are there, and there's a yellowtail cichlid in there as well that I happened to find in the tank. I didn't catch them when they bred, but I found one of them in the tank. But so some cichlids and some other babies that I use these 2.5 gallon tanks for. It just makes it easier to feed and control everything. So that's essentially the fish room with the lighting, the tubs. The tubs are basically, this whole unit over here is basically the newest part of it. Essentially works the same way as it did before. It's just a little heavier duty, a little better organized, and a lot more durable than the old one was. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the fish room. If you have any questions, feel free to post. Thanks.